This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, host of the Fine Print and EntreLeadership podcast, joined today by none other than Dr. John Delony, best-selling author, host of the aptly named Dr. John Delony Show. And we're excited to take your calls, America. It's a free call today and every day. 888-825-5225. We can talk about money, relationships, emotional wellness, mental health. Most of that I'm going to delegate to John.
No, I want to watch you answer those questions.
John, you want to watch the world burn, man. Come on.
That would make me happy.
Well,
I'll answer mutual fund questions, and you answer relationship.
And you know what that is? That creates mutual fun.
Yeah, right.
I wish if there was a band, he'd do the little drum
we just
solo
lost.
there.
We only had 11 listeners, and we just lost half of them.
We just lost
They're
them.
like, we're leaving.
Well, for those that are still with us, we are so glad you're here, and we have really a lobby crowd that I think is electric today. The lobby crowd is riveting. I wish you could be here to see it, America.
The building's on fire.
Come visit us. Look, there they are. If you're watching, you can see them there waving nicely at the cameras. So we're taking your calls, 888-825-5225, and we're going to kick this hour off with Dave in Lansing, Michigan. Dave, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking my call. In a nutshell, my mother is 98 years old. Just recently, her health is declining rapidly, so we put her into assisted living, which is about $8,000 a month. Now, she has approximately $160,000 cash in a bank, and she has just over $1 million of investments. Nothing crazy, being that from the generation that she's at, so it's just stocks and bonds. Now, would it be better to run out the money from the bank first, or take the money from the stock market or from her investment with a fear that the stock market might crash or go down significantly?
That's a great question, Dave, and it does bring me some joy that she has done well financially. I mean, usually you get these kinds of calls, John, and they're like, we have $0 in the bank, she's broke, but she's in a good spot. And so I wouldn't worry about the stock market crashing, but I would say she's 98. Now is the time, like, you invested all this money so that later you can use this in retirement. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with using that investment money. If you want to start with the cash, that's fine. You've got a big pile of money there. Obviously leave at least an emergency fund there. It sounds like in assisted living, though, that's all of her expenses, $8,000 a month, all in?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the only place in town, or is that seems pretty high from the ones I've looked at recently?
No, that seems to be the going rate. There's a little bit less, but I guess it's the style of living that she was hoping to have at this time in her life.
Well, yeah, she got $1 million in the bank. I mean, in investments in the bank. So yeah, she's earned that to ride out that last time there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with George there, man. I'm thinking if it's me, I think I would. Is the will all done? So this money that's in her savings would be dispersed on when she passes, and everyone knows where it's going. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think I would.
And the interesting thing, she's never had a financial planner. There was somebody at the bank that said, "Yep, we'll help you along," and they obviously have done well. But they lived very prudent. They didn't have boats and cottages. So
yeah, that's the joke here internally that Dave says all the time is, I'm not telling anybody anything my grandmother didn't tell me, right? That's how they lived. They had this awesome thing called common sense and another awesome thing called math that they could do, and they continue to do it. And then, ta-da, you end up with $1 million in the bank. I would probably start with a cash just for ease until you could sit down with a financial planner and begin to see which one of these things you could liquidate and in what order. Is there any of this stuff have to be withdrawn?
That I don't know.
Any of this dispersed retirement funds?
Okay.
And you're saying there is no financial planner in the picture currently? There's no advisor?
No.
I would work with one to make sure that we make the best use of this money for the remainder of her life. I mean, right now you'd be okay with $1 million, and we're talking under $100K a year all in for her care. It would take, I mean, she'd have to live another 10 years to get close to draining the investment account. Which, I mean, she could live to 108. That's happening. I mean, she sounds like she's just going to keep on going, man. But I would say work with a financial advisor. We, of course, have our SmartVestor pros around the country you can reach out to in the Lansing, Michigan area, and they can help teach you and help you understand what the best route to go is with this money to make the most of it to get the most bang for your buck here. But you're in a great spot. There's nothing wrong with using a big portion of that cash. I would leave some of it liquid, but you could use it for the first year as you try to figure out the next steps and what the financial advisor recommends. And they may have a different answer than we do, John, but you asked for our opinion, and there it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate your help, guys.
Hey, man.
Enjoy your day.
Just for the record, your mom's lucky to have you, man. It's awesome that you are able to and willing to sit and walk through her these decisions with her in the last few years of her life. Too many folks that I run into and that I talk to have nobody. And so good for you, brother. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
You're
Enjoy your day, guys.
restoring my faith in humanity, man.
Love to hear it. That's encouraging, John. I feel like there's a crisis going on where you see a lot of parents, they sacrifice for their kids, and now here they are, and the kids are having to take care of the parents. And this is a very different situation that Dave is in, where he's just helping mom navigate what to do with this pile of money.
Yeah. And
that's a much less stressful place to be.
Yeah, and let that be the light on the hill for everybody. Have $1 million in investments and $150,000 in cash, so that when your time comes, which it will, your kids are wondering what's the best, most strategic way we can do this, not how are we going to do this.
That's a very different conversation.
It's a totally different conversation.
I love it. No stress there.
Yeah.
Well, John, before we head to this break, you're crushing the Dr. John Delony Show. I've been tuning in, and the way that you've been handling these calls, especially in some of the people's darkest moments, it's inspiring. I'm glad you're on the team. For those that don't know what this show is, what are you doing day in and day out that's different from the Ramsey Show?
We are taking calls not around money. We're taking calls around the calls we took today that we recorded today was just found out my husband's cheating on me. I don't know the next steps, and just found out that my mother's going to be passing away, and how do I tell my kids? And it's everything from parenting to relationships to my kid just got this mental health diagnosis at school, and we love him, but we're tired of all these programs, and what do we do next? And so it is sitting with people when they feel like the wheels are falling off. And then we just walk through it, man. We have a lot of fun. We laugh. James and Kelly are a lot more joyful on that show than they are on this one. And man, it's a great time together.
Well, I'm glad you're on the team taking those calls, and it must be an honor to be the first person they think to call. So I'm going to call Dr. John and get his thoughts on this.
It's a pretty cool place, man.
That's cool. Well, we're happy to help here today. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, joined today by Dr. John Delony. We're taking your calls on money, on life, relationships, emotional wellness. You name it, we'll give it a shot. So we are here for you, America. And on the line right now, we've got Leah in Sacramento, California. Leah, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
So my husband and I have a piece of property up in Northern California near Tahoe. We're listing the property for just over $300,000. It's actually two parcels, a larger one of about an acre and a smaller one about half an acre. We just got an offer from a branch of, I guess, the county offering to put batteries on the smaller parcel and to lease the parcel for the next 15 or 30 years for about $30,000 a year. If it's 15 years, we get $450,000 over the next 15. If not, we get $900,000 over the next 30. We'd still be able to sell the larger portion, but we're kind of concerned about trying to sell the smaller portion after 15 or 30 years if we do accept that. So I don't really know if we should just continue to list it as one piece and try to sell it and get kind of the lump sum right now, or look at this option to lease the smaller parcel out and get this $30,000 over the next 15 or 30 years, depending on the contract.
Okay.
Why are you concerned about your ability to sell in the future?
It's bare land. It's near Tahoe, which is great, but there's a river that goes through it, and you can't build a certain, I guess, proximity to the river, and then you also can't build a certain proximity to the road. So it just kind of makes it a little bit more difficult, I guess. It's been on the market for about a year, but we've had it for a few years, just trying to clean up the property and clean up the title on the property and things like that. So when it comes to bare land, I'm always kind of concerned about the difficulty when it comes to selling.
Do you guys owe on this?
No, we're in baby step 7. We don't owe on anything.
Fantastic. Well, that puts you in a different spot where you now have options.
Yeah.
What is your household income?
We make about $150,000 or $160,000 a year.
Okay. And other than that, what are your next goals? I mean, do you guys want to get into real estate investing? Because in baby step 7, you've got lots of options there to build wealth, to give, to do some things. Are you guys wanting to be in the investment real estate business long term?
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist right now, and I do a lot of crisis work on the weekends, and my husband is in real estate. So I'm looking to kind of leave the crisis work when my kids are a little bit older and kind of start helping my husband more on the real estate side. So that is the plan ultimately, maybe in the next couple of years. So he's started with this piece of property, and
so what I would tell you is if I could secure a lease for, what are we talking? I mean, we're talking almost 9x over 30 years your return. I would sign that today and sell the bigger piece. Again, this doesn't bear out over time, but a philosophy that I live by, that I was given by a guy when I was younger, is I invest in dirt because they stopped making that a long time ago. Now, you can buy stupid plots of raw land in the middle of southern Utah, that are useless. Having a half-acre plot or an acre plot next to Lake Tahoe, even with the restrictions, I can't imagine you're not able to unload this. Even if you sell it at a reduced cost in 30 years, you still have made $1 million, 10x what you were going to sell it for, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so the beauty of your situation now is you've got an acre to sell that you can hold cash on, and you've got a long-term lease on dirt that you're still going to own into the future. So to me, it feels like you can't lose either way.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I'm thinking about this is based on whatever your next goal is, which it sounds like you're wanting to step away from the workforce maybe for what you're doing right now. And to me, you don't need that $300,000 today. There's no fire to put out with selling it today and getting $300,000. So I like the idea of locking it in for 30 years and making almost $1 million. I mean, you can just invest that money if you want, and that becomes a whole new nest egg for you guys in 30 years from now. That's incredible. So because you're on baby step 7, if you were like, hey, we've got a pile of debt over here we've got to clean up, I might say, hey, let's sell that thing, get rid of this debt, and we can restart on real estate investing down the line. But because of where you guys are at, you have options, and that's the beauty of baby step 7. You guys have done really well.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the call, Leah. Awesome. All right, we're going to Zach in Dallas, Texas. Zach, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, George, and thanks for pronouncing my name right. I actually thought you were going to misspell that.
Yeah, Zech. Kelly's a great help. I will say that. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Wondering if you and Dr. John have some tips on how I can help kind of coach my sister-in-law through the college application process without scaring her or stressing her out with all the things that go with it.
What has put you in this coach role? Are you just wanting to help her? She asked for it?
Part of the question, if you have a tip on this, I want to ask her if she will help me with it and talk to her mom about it as well. But it's also because, like, I'm pretty much the only Ramsey follower in the family. And I know, like, I've watched Borrowed Future. I watched your Fine Print episode on the student loan crap. And I don't want to see her go through that. I want to see her succeed on what she wants to do. Because she's a very talented girl. She wants to go into performing arts and stuff. And she's filling out some some applications and stuff, but I'm trying to figure out how to like talk to her about some of this stuff, like the dangers of loans and stuff, and how to avoid those.
Yeah,
go through the process. But
so here's
part of the reason I'm asking for help. I'm a little too practical, and I don't know how to just. If I go into this blind, I'm going to say something that's going to scare her out of listening.
Yes. So here's an important thing I want you to hang on to, and I want you to wrap your heart up in this, okay?
Okay.
You cannot make her do anything. You cannot coach somebody that doesn't want to be coached. You can only reach out and say, I would love to help if you're willing to accept it. Or I'd love to take you to coffee and talk to you about the student loan, talk to you about how to apply to colleges. But you're inserting yourself into a process you haven't been asked to enter. And that usually ends up in messed up relationships. And so you're asking for an invitation to a party you weren't invited to. And I think your heart is good, and I'm glad you're asking for that invitation. I say go for it. But don't approach it with, hey, y'all aren't that smart, and I just watched a documentary, and I'm going to teach y'all about that. I've had my friends who are vegans do that to me. I've had my friends who are fill in the blank. They watch a documentary, and they call. And, hey, we need to go talk about this. And it usually ends up in, oh, my gosh. So it's best to say, hey, I would love to reach out to you. And I'd love to, if you'd be interested in this conversation. What we're going to do is hang on the line here. We're going to send you a copy of Anthony O'Neill's Debt-Free Degree. I'm going to send it to you for free, and you can give that to her. And you could say, hey, I got a gift for you. I would love to sit down and talk to you about how to apply for college, how student loans work, and see if we can come up with a solution there. I want you to not just have a lot of info about how much student loans suck. I want you to have some info on how to actually apply for college, how to get scholarships, how to take 2 years of free community college if that works in your state, and then how do you transfer that on and on and on and on. Go with some information and some data, not just a fired up spirit.
Yeah, and I think even getting her to maybe watch the Borrowed Future documentary with you. Hey, Friday night, hey, you want to hang out? Let's catch up. I've got this great documentary if you want to watch it with me. That could open up the conversation to where maybe she's starting to ask some questions, and that's when you can step in. But the phrasing of it felt like, hey, she needs some coaching. It's like John coming into me and saying, George, I'm going to be your personal trainer. And I was like, John, I didn't know I was overweight and need to get fit. Well, now it's a personal attack.
Well, I mean, let's be honest.
Who are you going to trust, America, when it comes to fitness? Me or John Delony?
But hey, that's actually a great thought. Is when you walk up to someone and you look at them and you're like, "You need to get in the gym. I got a workout plan for you." I mean, no one's going to listen to you after that.
I'm immediately upset.
That's right. If you knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, I just had my life changed and I'd love to share it with you. Are you interested?" Then you might get an audience.
That's a different spirit. But I love the heart behind it, Zach. We're rooting for you as you coach her through this college process to get her to avoid student loan debt. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
If you aren't strapped with student loan payments, odds are you know someone who is. Millions of people are putting their lives on hold. They can't buy a house or have kids because they're stuck. Or even worse, they're waiting and waiting and waiting for the government to save them with student loan forgiveness. What a joke. Our team has produced a brand new documentary feature film called Borrowed Future, and it is out now. It uncovers the dark side of the student loan industry and exposes how the system is built to work against you. You'll see Dave Ramsey and Dr. John Delony weigh in on the epic failure otherwise known as the student loan program, along with featured interviews from other industry insiders and thought leaders like Seth Godin and Seth Frotman. We're coming at this issue hard, people. We're taking big swings at the student loan problem with the goal to arm parents and students across the country with the truth that you do not have to take out loans to get a college education. You can graduate debt-free and avoid the predatory student loan industry. Borrowed Future is available to watch now, and you can find it on Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, or at borrowedfuture.com.
Dude, I'm excited about this, man.
So pumped. The feedback has been
it's burning through, man.
Incredible. We are giving this away to teachers. I want to let America know that.
I didn't know that.
If you are a teacher, or if you are a youth pastor, you are leading teens in your life, we want to show this for free. So you can access this. Go to borrowedfuture.com. You can scroll down and click on the link if you are a teacher or in that realm where you are trying to influence the next generation, which is a difficult task. And so to have an 88-minute documentary you can push play on that says it for you, that is a game changer. So I'm real excited, and you did a great job in this, John, really unpacking what you've seen, because you've been in the education world for a long, long time.
And I love it.
You loved it so much you left.
Well, I mean, I do. I believe in it, and I love it. And I think it's important for our country. I think it's important for individuals. And it's got to be another way. Got to be another way, man.
Yeah. It's not the only path.
We've got to reimagine it, do it differently.
Student loans aren't the only path. College isn't the only path. And we're very pro-education.
Yeah.
We always have to caveat,
yeah.
We love education, but you got to do it the right way. And you don't want to leave college with $100,000, $50,000 in student loan debt wondering, wait, I thought this was supposed to set me up for adulthood.
No, I was there, man. We had 6 figures, and I remember pacing my house at night when my wife was asleep wondering what we were going to do. And I was still in school, so it was like the meter was still running, you know what I mean? And that's one of the most desperate feelings of my life, not having enough money to pay my bills. The meter's running. I'm just racking them up because I'm halfway through a program, and I don't know how we're going to do this. Like, I just don't know how we're going to figure it out. And so, yeah, I love it. I'm all in on college and universities, and we got to do it a different way.
Yep.
It's hard, man.
Check it out, borrowedfuture.com or Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, and Google Play. All right, open phone lines this hour. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Bob joins us in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Bob, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate
Absolutely.
the time. Thank you.
What's up, man?
Well, I turned 62 years old this year, and that means that I could potentially, I will have access to my self-employment pension. So you talk about education. I am an educator. I teach boating education, as in drive a boat on the water.
Very cool.
And
how long have you done that for, Bob?
I've been doing it for a good part of 12, 13 years now.
Very cool, man.
Prior to that, I was self-employed as a mobile disc jockey, weddings, banquets, parties, all that good stuff. And And prior to that, worked at a pharmaceutical company. Realized that I didn't really want to work in corporate America. But anyway.
Well, the first time I took my boat out, I recognized in short order I probably should have had some classes on how to even do what I'm doing.
He needed you, Bob. Where were you?
Bob, I'm glad there are people like you out in the world keeping the water safe from people like me. So what's up, man?
I do my best at it. I really do. And on top of that, I really, really enjoy what I do. So I'm really blessed. And so the challenges that I have, notice I didn't say problems, the challenges that I have are all first world challenges. I do have debt, and I have money to pay it off. I'm just looking for some common sense advice here on how to go about doing that. Now, again, emergency fund, taking care of, plenty of money in the SEP between my wife's 403B and my SEP, where we have plenty to cover these debts. However, I just want to throw these things at you. We have a mortgage. We put solar on top of our house, and I purchased that as opposed to leasing it. Do have a car loan, and my son has a loan that I want to get some advice on. That he's working towards becoming a commercial pilot. So, the loan rates could be a little better, and I think with my credit rating, I might be able to do well too. So, talk to me on what would be the best ways, to pay these off.
So, Bob,
And
you said you have a car
does it
loan
make sense to do so?
for your own personal debt.
I'm sorry?
You've got the mortgage, your personal mortgage, and a car loan. That's it for you?
The solar loan as well.
Oh, I thought you said you purchased it outright.
Oh, you took a loan
Well,
out.
yes.
And purchased
Okay.
It.
Okay. Well, again, purchase as opposed to lease.
Oh, lease.
This way
Okay. All right. So we got the
I
solar.
can collect the solar renewable energy credits. In New Jersey, they're very forward thinking, and for each SREC, I'm getting $220 put right into my bank account. So.
Okay.
All right. So here's what we teach is the baby steps, of course, the debt snowball. And you said you already have an emergency fund and you have the cash to pay for it. Is this cash in the retirement accounts or is it liquid in a savings?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you don't have the money in a savings account in cash to pay for it. You would have to dip into those retirement funds at this point.
That is correct.
Okay. What's the car loan? How much on that?
It's $23,000.
And what about the solar?
Solar is $43,000.
Woo! That's going to take a while to ROI on, even at $200.
Well, because I have an electric vehicle, that actually has taken it down to, according to my calculations, if I included that, without the electric vehicle charging, my payback is 7.67 years.
Is that what the salesperson told you?
Or is that with the
No.
when you include the gas
because
too?
I did take the 30% federal tax credit.
Okay. All right. So
Okay,
the
and
car
I do
loan is
get
going to go
extra.
first, Bob. So that's what we have to tackle
Okay.
first. I don't know what the car is worth. Is it worth more than 23?
Yeah, it's a 2020 Tesla.
Okay.
Ooh.
So it's roughly worth. I paid $50,000 for it, so I'm going to say it's probably $45,000 now.
Okay.
Well, if you want to do it the Ramsey way, you're going to have to line these up from smallest to largest. If I'm you, I'm right now, Bob. Truthfully, I'm probably selling the Tesla until
much
we're
do
in
you
a better
make,
financial
Bob?
spot.
Well, household income it varies because of my business, but it's generally between $150 and $200.
Okay. So I mean, you can hang on to the car there. You got 20 left on it?
23?
23.
So we got about 66 total in debt that is non-mortgage, Bob, from what I'm hearing. And with your income, could you not pay this off in the next 8 months?
Yeah. You should be done in less than a year. Pay that off.
The car.
Pay off everything.
And do it with your income.
That makes the most sense. That's I could definitely do that.
So I would love to see you and your wife just buckle down for 10 months and pay off the solar and pay off your car and then knock out this mortgage. How much you got left on your mortgage?
It's $60K.
Oh,
Bob, what are you doing?
Come on, Bob. You could be done with this whole thing in a year.
Done. Max 2 years. Then you're what, 64? And then you're doing somersaults out in the street with no shirt on because you don't owe anybody any money. And then you could be like,
There
you know
you go.
what? I don't work on Wednesdays just because I don't want to. How much you have in retirement accounts?
It's Well, that's like I said. We have first world problems. $2.5 million.
Oh my gosh.
Bob, I retract this entire phone call. You're not allowed to call
Let's
me
go
anymore.
back to square
Ever
one,
again.
Bob.
In fact, this is normally a free
All right,
call.
Again, it's in my SEP.
Yeah. No, you're killing it, dude. You're crushing it.
I wouldn't touch the retirement, Bob. You can cash flow this whole thing and let that retirement grow and not unplug it quite yet.
Absolutely. Yeah, pay the stuff off before the year's over.
And stop
Before
touching
next year's
debt,
over.
Bob. Stop touching debt. Get away from it. No more debt, no more loans, no more anything. You can do this, man. You got this. You're a baby steps millionaire. We just got to follow the plan to a T to do it the right way. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast. My co-host today, Dr. John Delony, best-selling author of Redefining Anxiety and host of the Dr. John Delony Show. We're taking your calls on pretty much everything. Money, life, relationships, mental health. Give us a call. 888-825-5225 is the number. Marie joins us in Cincinnati, Ohio. Marie, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
Well, I purchased a house 6 years ago for $27,000. I worked on it, which I've always loved to do, and I recently sold it for sold it for $237,000, and then after commission and tithe and giving to my church, I have $188,000 left.
Way to go, Marie!
Congratulations, Marie.
How did you do that? How much did you put into it in repairs?
Well, I did a lot of the work. Well, sadly, my husband passed away January 31st, so we were doing it together. He's with the Lord Jesus. It isn't easy, but it is hope that we will see each other. So we did it together, and then he got sick, and then I've always known how to have tool time, and I've always known how to do things. So we bought it for $27,000 when the market was not so hot, and we put in like the things that we couldn't repair, like the roof and the electric and the plumbing. We put in about $30,000, and so that's how we did it.
Wow. You number one, so we're so sorry for your loss. Sounds like your husband was an incredible guy, huh?
He really was. It was difficult, really, really difficult. But it would be harder without Jesus. So, it's been hard. It's easier now, but it's only been since January.
And it's okay for it to stay hard for a long, long time. Y'all were together for a while, and he sounds like he was a great guy. And man, I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah. And on the other side, congratulations for seeing this project through and finishing it. And wow, $188,000 y'all cleared. Wow.
So what's your whole financial picture, Marie? Are you okay financially? Obviously, you've got a big pile of money here. Do you have a primary residence that you're currently living in?
Well, I'm actually, when I sold my house 2 weeks ago, so let's say 2.5 weeks ago, I moved in with my sister who's down the street. We're super close. It's just she and I together. And so my expenses went from, no homeowner's insurance or any of those things to my monthly expenses are like $300. Wow. I don't have a car payment. I don't have credit card debt. I don't have a school loan. I just have my monthly expenses. I can live on nothing because that's just the way we were raised.
Wow.
My parents were immigrants from Santiago, Chile, and they taught us how to live with little and make money in this beautiful America, so we did.
What a legacy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So now you're sitting here, you've got no debt, and you've got a pile of cash, and you're not looking to buy a house anytime soon because you're living with your sister and you've got a great situation there.
Right, because the long-term goal is I'm going to help my sister get her house ready, and then we're going to sell her house, and then we want to buy land. But it's just I just don't know what to do with the money now, because I'm not going to be doing that for another year and a half.
Okay.
I don't want it sitting in the bank doing nothing.
Sure. So it's still a pretty short time horizon if you're talking about a year, 18 months from now. So I wouldn't go, throwing it into the stock market because of the volatility from now to 18 months from now. You could lose money. So I get that you don't want it putting in a bank and it's not going to grow by much. In a money market account or a good high yield savings account, you're probably looking at about 0.5%. And so it's not super exciting to see that money grow at such a slow pace. But right now, what I want to do is protect this money more than I want to see it grow astronomically because of the short time horizon. Now, if you said, hey, 5 years from now I want to do this, I would say, all right, let's put it in some good mutual funds and watch this thing grow for 5 years. So a high yield savings account would be your best bet right now for that $188,000 as you figure out what those next steps are. And make sure you have an emergency fund in place. Do you currently have 3 to 6 months of expenses? I know you don't have a lot of expenses.
I don't. I just have, that's all I have is $188,000.
To your name. Okay. So I'm going to take 6 months of expenses, which for you that might be really low, but you can park that in a savings account and don't touch that. That's just for emergency situations that are unexpected, urgent, and necessary.
So maybe $20,000 you put in a savings account, or in a checking account. And when your transmission falls out of your car, it will be annoying, not catastrophic.
No stress.
Got it.
Do you have anything in retirement? Do you have a nest egg that you've been growing?
I don't. I never worked corporate. I raised my sons, as a stay-at-home mom, and then when my sons became men and they didn't need me, which was great, I kind of went back to my love, which is I'm an artist. I just take vintage things, take them apart, and put them back together as jewelry and things like that. So my income has never been good, and so I've never had a retirement.
Did your husband leave you with any retirement from his professional career?
Nothing.
Okay.
No.
And how old are you?
I'm 54.
Okay.
That actually changes the conversation.
Yeah, the big question mark for me is how are you going to live in retirement? I mean, if you burn through this $188 in cash and you bought some land, you'd have $0 to your name and nothing in retirement to even pay for those expenses. So that's my bigger worry right now, is that you may need to get a job to bring in some income to start to build a nest egg for the next decade, and park that money aside, and maybe we don't start doing investment property until we know we're in a good place for retirement.
Do you have any sort of health insurance, life insurance, anything like that?
Nope.
Yeah, you may want to consider, I'm going to strongly recommend you sit down with a Xander representative and walk through what it would look like to get some health insurance over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Were you able to cash flow your husband's illness?
No. The illness, he was an amazing person, but he did construction as his career.
Okay.
But he died. It's kind of embarrassing, even though he's not here. He died of alcohol abuse.
Okay.
And so, with that said, he had his good days and his bad days. And so he didn't leave anything. He didn't do anything as far as savings or thinking of the future. That was always my job. That was always like put money aside or go get the regular job or go do the shows that I would do. It was never on his radar.
So Marie, here's what I want to do. We're going to give you a year's subscription to Ramsey Plus. And I want you to sit with your sister, and I want you all to go through every one of these lessons together. Everything from a $1,000 emergency fund, paying off your debts, which y'all have already done, to baby step 3 and 4 and building an emergency fund, and then talking about insurance, talking about investing, and it's going to lay it all out there for you. And I want y'all to do this together because you're going to need somebody to walk alongside you, and she's going to need someone to walk alongside her, because y'all are going to be learning this stuff for the first time in your 50s. And it's going to alter your dream. I'm telling you right now, it's going to alter your dream, but it's going to be right. And it might be for the first time in 50 years that you sleep all night.
Okay.
The first time you think about the future and your heart doesn't start racing on you. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Does that sound good?
It does.
Be
It
pretty
sounds
cool,
great.
huh? To sleep.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
to not worry if we get sick, we're going to be bankrupt, right?
Yeah, and that's why I called, because this is a lot of money, but it's all I have.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money, and it's not a lot of money all at the same time.
And Marie, one more step for you. I want you to go to RamseySolutions.com, click on Trusted Pros. I want you to get in touch with one of our SmartVestor pros to teach you what you need to do with this money when it comes to investing. I think this is now your retirement nest egg. This is not land fund money.
Absolutely not, yeah.
So that's what you need to do. Appreciate the call. We're rooting for you. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to James Childs, producer, Kelly Daniel, and Austin screening the phones back there, and you, America, and, of course, Dr. John Delony. We'll be back with you before you know it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money and your mental health and your relationships and boundaries and all of the things that concern you and ail you. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, joined today by the wheezing Dr. John Delony.
That concern you and ail you.
Yes. I'm like a 1920s innkeeper, John.
Welcome to the 21st century. I'd like to introduce you to a microphone.
I think we need to get back to the old times in some ways, John.
Hey,
our language, the kids these days, the slang words.
My wife reminds me regularly that she believes I was born in the wrong century, but I don't think I've ever said, well, honey, what ails you today? Jeez Louise.
We're having a good time. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. John would love to take your call instead of listening to me. But it is what it is, as the
America,
kids say.
what ails you? Give us a shout.
What ails you? We'll talk money, life. And Jeff was brave enough to call in, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. Jeff, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, gentlemen. How you doing?
We are doing great. What ails you today? How can we help?
I'm just kind of torn in between buying a piece of property, probably be a retirement property. It's about $60,000 just for the dirt. So I'm trying to figure out if it's really kind of the right thing to do, the right decision. I don't have any bills. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any student debt. Cars are paid off.
Good for you.
The house is worth about $575,000. I've got a rental property that I would probably sell that's worth about $250,000. I've got about $425,000 in a 401k. I've got about $35,000 liquid. For
what was the liquid amount?
Stuff. $35,000.
So you would sell your rental house to buy this dirt? What's special about this dirt? You have a dream? What's your dream?
To put a house on it, build a house on it. It's kind of where we want to retire. So there's not a whole lot of land left there in the subdivision. So the prices are going up. It's a for sale by owner. So, the property is, the asking price is $60,000, but the prices around it for the properties are about $92,000. So I can, for sale by owner, I can get a pretty good deal, I think.
Gotcha.
So what would this house cost that you want to build on top of the dirt?
It's about $225 a square foot. So it'd probably be around $400,000.
Okay, and you have a paid-for primary residence that's worth $575,000.
Yes.
But you would keep the primary residence and use this as a secondary property for yourself?
Probably not.
Okay, because you said you were going to sell the rental.
Yeah, the rental we would sell.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with that kind of money, you've got the cash either way if you sell one of these properties, right?
Yes.
How old
or
are you,
even
man?
if I don't.
How old are you, Jeff?
I'll be 62 in December.
Yeah. So what's your timetable for building this house, your dream home, and settling in?
Probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay. You're debt free. You've got a retirement. You don't have a ton of money in retirement, but you're a millionaire. You've got $1 million in assets out there and cash. And if you want to sell a house right now, the market's hot, and hang on to that cash and buy dirt in your dream community. That's what I would do. If I'm being honest with you, that's what I would do.
And you're still working,
Okay.
Jeff?
Yes.
What's your household income?
About 110.
All right. Well, you've done really well. Aside from the retirement account, which I think, like John's saying, if you sold that primary residence and kind of used that as part of the nest egg and started investing some of that, or just sell the rental and cash flow the property, could you do that? If you just sold the rental and cash flowed the rest?
Yeah, we probably could.
I mean, I like that plan because it sets you up for retirement. I just don't want you to sink a whole bunch of money into this property and you've got nothing in retirement as you try to settle into retirement.
Right. I think the property. I think my first plan would be to invest in this property, this dirt, and if I needed to sell it, then I could sell it and probably make some money off of it.
Sure.
But because the price of the dirt around it is significantly higher than what I would be buying the other property from.
One thing I would check on that is make sure it's been perked and all that. It may be a reason why it's 33% less expensive than the dirt around it. But yeah, dude, I don't have any problem with that. If that's where y'all want to end up, you've worked really hard, you're a millionaire, you're pretty close. Just don't leverage yourself on this decision.
Yeah,
Use
do this
cash.
thing in cash, man. You got this. Way to go. All right, Amir joins us in Toronto, Canada. Amir, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. How can we help?
I'm just calling regarding a question. In a way, it's two-parter, but I'm currently in university. I'm 20 years old in my third year, and over the past year and a half, almost 2 years, I've been back at home because of COVID, and my classes and everything have been online. But next term, starting January, my classes will be in person, and all 5 courses that I'm planning on taking will be in person. And I'm just trying to decide if it would be financially better for me to move to the other city where my university is, or to continue to stay at home.
What's the commute like right now?
It's a drive, and it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Whoa. And you're there like 5 days a week?
I don't exactly know my schedule, but I think it would be somewhere around 3 or 5 days.
Can you cash flow the campus living? You won't take on any debt to do that?
Yes, I can. I have savings, and I have the money for it. It's a high cost, and the sort of degree or career that I'm pursuing is extremely expensive. So I'm trying to save and budget as much as I can.
So here's what I'll tell you. If you have the cash, the research tells me that students who live on campus have higher they do better on a host of metrics. Now, that's not universal. That's taking an average of the students who live on campus versus those who commute. There's something about meeting classmates. You all start businesses together. You form relationships together. You learn how to do this. You learn how to talk to your boss in the future. All kinds of data that suggest if you live on campus, there's some significant benefits. I'll also say if you have to borrow to do that, it is absolutely not worth it, because there's also psychology of debt challenges and getting out and the accelerated anxiety and depression around, I don't own my future, a bank does. Right, so if you can cash flow this, I don't have any problem with that at all, man.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it'd be a great experience for you.
What was your second question? We're running up against a break.
It's the second part is that if I continue to stay at home, I can pay off my debt. But if I move back to school, my debt paying off would be on pause.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't want you to go into more debt. We can work on the debt as soon as you graduate, but it feels like moving on campus is still the best bet for you psychologically and financially right now. Cash flow, man, you got this. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
So let me ask you a question. When you think of a millionaire, what kind of job do you picture them having? Is it some kind of high-powered executive position like a VP or a CEO? Well, here's the thing. Only 15% of millionaires actually have jobs like that. The reality is that the top 5 careers for millionaires in America are engineer, accountant, teacher, manager, and attorney. That's just one of the surprising things our team found out when we conducted the largest study of millionaires ever done. They talked to thousands of millionaires about who they are and how they achieve that goal. And our study also made it clear that to become a millionaire, you've got to invest wisely. And a big part of that is getting good investing advice. You need to work with an investing pro who can walk with you and teach you about the options that are right for you. Our team recommends trustworthy, vetted investing pros from all over the country that we call SmartVestor Pros. If you want to get in touch with one in your area, just text the word INVEST to 33789 and start building wealth today. That's INVEST to 33789. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Delony, and we are taking your calls. 888-825-5225 is the number. Brian joins us in Toronto. Brian, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
How are you?
We're doing great. How can we help?
I'm a recent graduate. I'm 22 years old, and I graduated with my degree debt-free in April.
Awesome.
I decided to take the year off because I wanted to pursue a Master's of Public Health next year, but I wanted to be able to cash flow, and I felt like I needed to develop my professional skills.
Way to go, man.
I sought an internship in Toronto, and I secured that internship, and when I got there at the Community Health Center, the first words out of my supervisor's mouth were, "You weren't my first choice. Management made me hire you." My question for you guys, and it just happened like 2 or 3 days ago, my question for you guys is, what can I do to salvage this relationship and to turn this experience into a mature one that will help me realize my goal of strengthening my CV and my professional development?
Dude.
This is a fun situation, John. This is your Super Bowl.
So, I'm just saying I may have had that happen to me a few times. Just saying. I think I've been the second or third choice. They ran through like 40 different personalities before they were like, God, it was just hard to Delony then. That's all we got left. So, dude, I've been there a bunch, Brian. Couple of things I'd recommend you do. First thing is brush this off. Like Jay-Z said, brush your shoulders off, dude. You got to move on from this, okay? That in some ways, that was somebody trying to weaponize like radical honesty, and they were trying to make a power play. Okay, I'm not going to give that a second thought. You know why? Because you got the job. Who cares who made you hire? You got it. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out, not because I'm trying to make a move or this is a good political thing. No, because I'm a person of dignity. I'm going to say, hey, I'd love to take you to coffee, or can we set up some time? And here's something I do with all of my bosses. Even at Ramsey Solutions, I've done this. I did this with all of my other bosses, is I would ask, how do you like to get information? Are you a lunch person, a coffee person? Do you not take lunches with different people? How do you if there's a crisis, how do you want me to call you? I want to be as hospitable, and I want to be the employee that helps them be successful in their job. And I take notes, and then I say, great, I will go from there. I've had bosses say, I don't do lunches, I don't do coffees with anybody who reports to me. And I said, great. And I've had somebody say, I like to do office in my office, so if you'll go pick it up, I'd love to meet with you once a month. Whatever. I've had it all over the place. But you go first. And here's the third magic thing. Are you ready? This is going to be the brand new news for you, so I want you to hang on to your seatbelts on this one, okay? Do incredible work and be fun to be around. The gold standard is do your job real well and don't be an idiot. Right? If you do those two things and they still don't like you, then your boss has a problem that you can't solve, man. And you're still going to leave this year or the next year or whatever this ends up turning into for you with some great experience. You're going to learn how to navigate some of these wild political systems, and you're going to get some great leadership experience. And you're not going to sacrifice your soul in the process, man. Okay, can you do that? Will you just go work real hard and be a person of character?
Absolutely. That helps a lot. Like I said, it just kind of caught me off guard. The first words out of your mouth were me.
So think about it this way.
Thank you.
2 kids just showed up to the schoolyard, and one of them was like, hey, man, my name is George. And the other one just takes his shirt off and flexes real big and goes, look at my muscles. That's what just happened to you. And, dude, it's like, cool muscles, bro. Can we go play on the slides? That's what happened. Don't give it a second thought. Just work really hard. Be a person of character. And you go first with how can you serve your supervisor, man? Good for you. Congratulations.
I love that. Out of a sea of analogies, you chose the shirt off flexing, John. There's so many.
That may have happened to me as well.
Well, Brian, I've been in your shoes too. I started at Ramsey Solutions as an intern, and while the team was very loving, there were people who just went, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
This guy's not for me. Not my cup of tea. And I had to prove them wrong, not with a chip on my shoulder, but just going, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm going to work my tail off. I want to be a guy that people like to be around. Mm-hmm. And here I am 8 years later.
Yeah.
So that's the best advice I can give is prove them wrong and don't do it in a revengeful way, but just kind of like, all right, that's cool, man. I'm 22. I get it. I'm a young buck. Don't have a lot of experience. I'm here to get experience.
Yeah.
So 3 years from now, he's going to go, man, that's my guy right there.
Now 3 years from now, his resume will be on your desk, and then you can say, wow.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah. That's how it is, man. Prove them wrong. I love it. All right. Nancy's in Philadelphia. Nancy, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you so much. I have been trying to find the answer to this question, hoping you guys can help me. My question is around the long-term care insurance portion of it. From my understanding, that world has changed quite drastically. My husband and I are in our late 50s, and my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's about a year ago.
I'm sorry.
We are current. That's okay. We're, it's all good. God is going to bring us through all of that. So I feel super optimistic and super hopeful.
Great.
So my husband was laid off during coronavirus and for the COVID stuff. He still has not gotten another job. I was laid off from my job, but I'm looking for a new job. We have zero debt. The only thing we have left is our mortgage to pay off, which I'm going to do with gazelle-like intensity in 3 years to get back on. But we're about 1.5 million, and my question is do I need long-term health care? Because that's what I'm looking at for him. And I don't know what to do at this point.
Have you looked into what it would cost?
For long-term care, yes. It's like $15,000 a day if he is, if we can't take care of him at all anymore.
You're saying that's what it would pay out? Or what does it cost you? What are the premiums every year?
Oh, right. Okay. So from what we've been through the medical things, we haven't gotten it back, whether, first of all, if they will even cover him. There is nothing that I can find long-term care that will take us at the moment. There's the hybrid plans, which I know Dave is like a big no for the whole term life, and the hybrid plans are super expensive. Like it's for me, it would be $20,000 a year, and that would be for like 10 years. But I'm not doing that. I'd rather take that $20,000 and put it into investments and let that grow. Yeah. So I just didn't know on his side what I would do, what I need to do for him.
Yeah, I'll let George answer there's where to get it and what age and all that. I think you're going to have some trouble getting long-term care with that diagnosis. would be my guess, unless you found somebody, and it would be incredibly expensive if you do find it.
Yeah.
There's two options here. You either self-insure and use your own money, or you pay for this exorbitant premium. And the only time that we would consider buying that hybrid policy is if you don't qualify for the traditional long-term care. So while it's not ideal, if it's what you can get and that makes more sense than you having to foot the bill and wipe your retirement account out, I think it's worth looking into. So if I'm you, I'm jumping on to RamseySolutions.com, click on Trusted Pros, and talk to one of our long-term care insurance trusted pros out there in your area. They can walk you through all of your options and help you make an educated decision. But I'm so sorry you're walking through this. That's such a tough thing, John.
Dude, and man, he is lucky to have you running point for the rest of y'all's time together. Good for you.
Well, Nancy, thanks for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast. Both podcasts you can find on the Ramsey Network. I'm joined today by Dr. John Delony. You can also find his show, The Dr. John Delony Show, on the Ramsey Network, and you have been cranking out some shows, John. I see you in the studio next door, taking people's calls, helping people, and then we put it out there for the world to consume, and hopefully they get something out of it.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. And what about yours? You're the Fine Print's crushing, dude.
Thank you. It's been fun. We're trying to uncover all of the money traps out there, and it turns out there's a lot. We're like, we'll have to save that one for season 2. We got too much on the plate to try to uncover now. We just released an episode all about bankruptcy. Is bankruptcy a quick fix for struggling Americans? Is there a bankruptcy tsunami on the way? Whew. I talked to some experts in this field. We hear some real stories of people who are on the brink. It was fascinating stuff. I learned so much. So you can go check that out on the Fine Print podcast feed. Some really good stuff there, some things that are hard to hear, and we try to bring some levity to it. I did my best Michael Scott impression in The Office where he declares bankruptcy.
It's one of my favorite TV moments of my entire life.
It's gold.
Like, I try to keep track of the hardest I've ever laughed, and that's in the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah, that
so
brought me joy.
Go listen just for that. There's also a dashboard confessional reference in the podcast, so I sneak a lot of things in there just to make it fun for me, John. But we're having a great time.
But you cover, I'm just looking at these topics, man. You cover hard stuff, like tax stuff, the true cost of credit card rewards. I only use them for the points, George. It makes me feel so good.
Don't rile me up, John. Not now.
Bulletproof your money for the next pandemic. There won't be a next There for sure will be.
Sorry, guys.
Man, buy now, pay later. You know what's super cool? Buying a $20 T-shirt on payments.
John, you can do buy now, pay later. I'm not joking. On pizza. You can put a pizza on payments.
Well, it's just like putting it on a credit card, right?
Yeah, but this is worse. It's because of the mentality around it of, you know what? Why pay $15 for pizza today when I can pay $4 for the next 4 months? What are we doing here, man?
Wow.
It's crazy stuff.
Bitcoin solves all of our problems. Credit scores, so good. Student loans are back, and bankruptcy, yikes.
Yeah.
Man, you're
and we're not
getting
even
into it.
done. We're not even done. In fact, you are on our next episode on holiday spending. And if you've been seeing the headlines, the supply chain is basically saying, like, hey, you're too late for holiday shopping. It's too late. The pumpkins just came out, and you're already too late for Christmas. So a lot of good stuff coming your way. We're doing one on DIY investing.
This year you get high fives.
Yep.
High fives, kids.
Well, I relate it to the Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad fighting over the Turbo Man action figure on Christmas Eve. And it's the best analogy I can think of. I wish it was that fun.
That's how dark the holiday season has come. That we're back to Schwarzenegger and Sinbad.
We're back, baby. 1996, Jingle All the Way. So it's a lot of fun. We're having a good time helping people understand that if you follow the trends, you will fall for the traps.
Right.
Do it old school. Do it grandma's way. That's what this show's all about.
And you can just operate outside of the system.
Buck the trends, man. That's what I'm all about. And I know you are too.
You know what I love? I don't like bucking the system. I like sleeping at night. I like that my Christmas shopping is already done because they were telling us about supply chain issues a year ago. And so me and my wife were like, hey, why don't we go ahead and take care of some of that?
Life hack. Do Christmas a year ahead of time.
It's not even a life hack. It's just like a math problem or a supply chain. I mean, yeah, some of this is like, wait a minute. Halloween's 5 days. God,
well, John, people they can't think that far ahead because they have so much going on in their life, so much anxiety, so much debt, payments, things to keep up with, social things, and they can't even think about what's going on this weekend.
Yeah.
And so we got to get people to think ahead.
Just be intentional, man.
And that's what we do is all about. So we're happy to take your call. It's a free one, 888-825-5225. And check out Dr. John Delony on the next episode on holiday spending. You help us create some boundaries with family around the holidays.
Oh, man.
Super helpful stuff. That is one of the biggest things to face. So a lot of good stuff happening around here at Ramsey Solutions. We're going to Tom in Miami, Florida. Tom, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. How can we help?
So, I know the father, husband side of me, what I want to do. I just need some guidance. Long story short, I have a 2021 Chevy Suburban that is almost paid off. I owe probably about $10,000 on it. I could turn around and sell it, given the used car market, for about $70,000. And given the financial situation of our family, it would really help with I haven't done a very good job leading our family financially. We're getting better, but it would put us, and that's the only debt that we have, is the rest of the vehicle. I've been talking to my wife about selling it, and that'll give us a fully funded emergency fund. I'm severely behind on retirement to the point of I haven't started yet. I'm 37 years old. And with the scope of the economy and everything, and just with, everything going on, I feel like, it's my duty that I gotta get this turned around somehow. My wife loves the car. Granted, I mean, it's a beautiful vehicle, but we have 3 kids, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a almost 6-year-old. And I can imagine now I'm neurotic about it. It's causing me a lot of stress that the car is going to get destroyed and the value's not going to be in it. Yeah. And so I don't know what to do. That's my question.
Well, number one, dude, I've taken a few brave calls today. We recorded several episodes of my show earlier today, and I talked to a brave man, and you two are also brave. You're brave for looking at one scary place, and that's the mirror, and saying, I need to make some changes. I got 3 little ones, and I'm looking at the news, and the world's changing, and I gotta do better. Dude, I want to high five you. I'd hug you if you were here. I'm proud of you, man. That's a hard place to start, is in the mirror, so good for you. Number 2, it sounds like you've crushed a whole bunch of other debt. Is that right?
Yeah, we've done well. We bought a house in 2015, and we were very fortunate to accrue a lot of equity in it.
Hey, I want to stop you real quick. You know what you're really good at? When things are bad, you take the blame, and when things go well, you say we, or you say we just got really lucky on this one. I suck, but we got lucky. I want you to own the good and the bad. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that a fair trade?
Yep.
Okay, so let's start owning the good stuff. So you bought a house in 2015. The market appreciated. You made a great purchase, and then what?
We moved into a brand new home, which we're blessed beyond belief. And I mean, we've done some upgrade. We had to put a fence around it, so the kids wouldn't fly in the neighbor's pond, and but we depleted pretty much a lot of the equity with the down payment of the home, and all the other stuff that we had to do to it.
And you cash flowed all of this?
Yeah, did you cash flow it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to get to your question, I don't have a love affair with cars. George, I know you do, so maybe I'm just kidding. You don't either.
Me and John both drive trash cars that are worth a tenth of what that Suburban is worth.
So If it's me, yes, I'm with you. I'd sell that car. I would go buy a great Highlander or something that I could tote 3 kids around in, that also I could grow with for the next decade, and then I'm setting everybody up. The other side of this conversation is less about my wife loves the car. That's okay. Those disagreements happen throughout marriages all the time. I'm more concerned that I don't know that she's heard your heart yet. Does she know that you are scared?
Yeah. Kinda.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I have a tendency, a lot of my friends have a tendency to have these conversations in their math problems. Look at this. We could sell this, pay off this, buy this, and be done with this. I want you to sit down. I want you to take your wife out for a meal, and I want you to look her across the table and say, I'm scared about our financial situation. I'm ashamed of how I've led us here, and I want you and me to be together in this, making the next steps, and I want to sell this car, and it's going to bring me peace. Will you join me with this?
The housing market is hot, and your house could be worth a lot more today than it was when you bought it. That means your old insurance policy might not give you enough coverage anymore. And what's the point of paying for insurance that won't swing the cost to repair or rebuild your home? Now, some policies will automatically raise your coverage to cover rising home prices or material costs, but not all of them. If your home's value has gone up or it's been over a year since you checked your homeowner's policy, you need to talk to one of our endorsed local providers. These independent agents will compare multiple policies to find the best coverage for your home and your budget. That's why they are Ramsey Trusted, because they'll put you first, period. Text the word HOME to 33789 to talk with a trusted home insurance pro today. That's HOME to 33789. I'm George Camel, Ramsey Personality, joined today by Dr. John Delony, and it's a free call, 888-825-5225. Celeste joins us in Phoenix, Arizona. Celeste, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you so much.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
So my husband and I recently crossed kind of a big financial milestone that we're excited about, but also now have a whole new set of questions we're trying to figure out. In short, we're trying to determine whether it might make sense to press pause on our retirement savings for 1 year so that we can instead front load our daughter's 529 for college savings.
So you got through baby step 3, this fully funded emergency fund, and then you went, oh gosh, our daughter's about to go to school and we haven't saved. Should we stop investing for retirement? I'm sorry to interrupt you. The situation is a little different than that. So first, she's 3, so we have some time.
Oh, good.
I thought she was like 17.
Yeah.
No, and we have been saving. We have about $25,000 in her in her 529 account.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
What makes you think you're not on track?
I think when I started doing the math and looking at calculators, we got to the point that I kind of realized every dollar we put in now will be worth like 2 when she's in high school. And we're trying to think about whether theoretically we might be looking to retire around the same time that she starts college. So we're trying to figure out if front loading, putting more into her 529 now so that we might not have to put as much in later would put us in a stronger position just from an expense perspective when she's in college.
Well, I'll say I don't want you to pause investing. I think you guys are doing great. This is not a dire situation. I mean, she's got 15 years before she's even going to explore these college options. You already have $25,000 saved. It sounds like you're going to have well over six figures as this money grows over the next 15 years. Is that right?
We hope so. I think, we're also concerned about these crazy inflation rates for college specifically. It looks like it's been well over 5% over the last few years, but it makes me feel calmer to hear you.
Well, I don't want you losing sleep at night over inflation, because your daughter's going to have a great head on her shoulders, and she's going to focus on what college she can afford 15 years from now. And there's going to be options out there.
I lived in that world. I'll just tell you, I have an 11-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I'm not front-loading mine. The year-over-year 5%, 7%, 3.5% tuition hikes that have been going on for the last 25 or 30 years cannot continue. This college will be $1 million. It won't be a practical investment. So I would not get out over your skis. Don't overthink it. Can I just tell, have you guys been doing this for a long time? Have y'all been running for a season?
Yeah, pretty hard. And, I mentioned at the beginning we have sort of a milestone that we've crossed, which is we've kind of looked up and just realized we've got almost $1.2 million in our retirement account.
Incredible.
So that's part of what's driving it too. Thank you. Yeah, we feel really good about that. And honestly, it just kind of happened without our even realizing.
Sure. Well, y'all are doing all the right things. And so here's what I want to shift your perspective. You know, have you heard of Dave talk about gazelle intensity?
Yeah.
A gazelle is running from a lion for its life. And that's how he wants people to attack debt. He wants people to get off that system like your life depends on it. You can run into some problems psychologically, spiritually, physically, if you continue running like that for the rest of your life. And you guys crossed a magic milestone, and it's not magic. You worked your butts off and you got here that way. I want y'all to stop for a minute. You're not running for your lives anymore. And I want you to breathe and have peace. And I want you to enjoy this little girl. I want you to do your regular investing. Y'all are millionaires. I want you to live your life debt-free. And I want you to put the normal amount of money in this 529, understanding that either college is going to be $1 million and they're going to have to figure something else out, or the colleges are going to have to re-regulate themselves, which I think is what's going to happen. And y'all guys are doing a great job. You're doing a great job, and you don't have to run for your life anymore.
Thanks for that piece.
Are you still there? Okay, there you are.
She was so taken aback.
Yeah. No, just processing.
Some people, myself included, get so obsessed with sprinting that we are going to get to the end of our lives and have a great retirement, and we're going to realize we missed it. And that's why Dave's so intentional about baby steps 4, 5, and 6, which is make sure you live too, right? Be intentional about your life, but make sure you're living too. Y'all aren't running for your lives anymore. You're just not.
Celeste, how old are you two?
43.
You're 43, and you are millionaires. You are doing amazing.
Yeah, congratulations.
And you have a 3-year-old that you already have $25,000 saved for college. We have people calling in that are way older, with kids way older, who are a lot less freaked out than you are. So I just want to affirm that you guys are doing so well. And like John said, take a breather. When's the last time you guys did something fun for yourselves?
Oh, I mean, we're pretty good about that.
Good. I just want to make sure, because I know it can be so hard when you're just running and gunning to go, no, this money could be used over here. We could fund the college if we don't go on vacation this year. And this is a marathon, and you guys are doing great. You're going to retire with multiple millions of dollars if you just keep following the baby steps like you've been doing. Yeah. Keep investing the 15%, build up the 529. Do you guys have a paid-for property, or are you working on the mortgage after this?
No, we have not paid off our mortgage yet, so
okay.
that'll be next.
Great. So I want you to keep the other goals in mind too. It's not all about funding college. We love to say that there's a 100% chance you will retire. There's a 50-50 chance your daughter goes to college. Right. And so we want to make sure that you're taken care of first. You've got the mask on before you help your daughter out. And you're already doing that. You're going to pay off the mortgage probably in the next few years at this point based on how well you guys are doing. What's your household income?
About this year it'll be about $250.
$250. Oh my gosh. I'm not worried about your daughter going to college debt free. I mean, you could cash flow this at this point,
Right.
just out of your budget if you needed to. So you guys are doing great. And in 15 years, guess what? You're going to have a paid for house if you're doing it the Ramsey way. And you're not going to let your daughter go to college with student loans. And she's going to be raised up in that house with amazing parents who have worked so hard to leave a different legacy for her.
That's the plan. Fingers crossed.
No, you don't need fingers crossed. You're there.
That's what people do when they're hoping. You don't need to hope.
Let me say this in a way hopefully you can understand. You're a millionaire. A millionaire. And on average return, which we know things are like shaking a snow globe, every 7 years it doubles. So if you're at 1.2, then that's 2.4, and that's $4.8 million. And that's just when your daughter decides to go to college. Y'all are okay. You're more than okay. You're kicking. But at 4.8 and a paid-for house, you'll be able to cash flow college and retire and do whatever you want to. Congratulations. You're crushing it. So proud of you.
Way to go, Celeste. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to producer James Childs, Austin Selby handling all of the phone screening today, Kelly Daniels, acting associate producer, I guess, in the back there, and Dr. John Delony, thanks for being a great co-pilot on this wild ride. And you, America, for listening in. We can't do this without you. We're thankful for you checking out the show today. It's a free call, 888-825-5225. We'll be back with you before you know it.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money and your relationships and your whatever. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, joined today by Dr. John Delony, host of the Dr. John Delony Show. John, how long did it take to come up with that name?
The Dr. John
Probably
Delony
too many
Show,
hours.
The amount of hours is embarrassing, and we don't even talk about it anymore.
Oh,
a lot.
man.
I had some cool names for the show after old heavy metal bands that they didn't go anywhere. There was a lot of discussion. Didn't really go anywhere.
It's fine. It's a solid name.
Yep.
It's good. Strong.
Hey, but give us a call, 888-825-5225. We're talking about everything. And, hey, we got a lobby full of SmartVestor pros from all over the country. So good to see you. Wave, everybody. It's great to see you.
They're like kids in a candy shop right now, wandering around here. It's so great.
Exactly.
They are pumped up.
It's more like kids in a cookie store because there actually are cookies out there. But
That's
it's good
true.
to see everybody.
That's a good thing to note, that we do have free cookies, free mugs, free coffees, all the
Come
things.
by and see us. That's right.
We love it. Just south of Nashville. All right, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Zach kicks off this hour in Huntington, West Virginia. Zach, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hello.
Hey, how can we help?
Okay, yeah. So I'm calling because right now I'm pursuing several pastorate positions, and these positions, they come with parsonages, the house on the church. And I was wanting to know what you thought. My wife is thinking that we should just use a housing allowance and buy a house wherever we're at. But I'm not so sure about that, because if I can get the parsonage, it'll come with utilities paid, and I won't have to worry about any financial decisions. But my wife thinks that it's not secure enough, that it could fall right out underneath of us. So I was wanting to know if you thought that I should just go, if we should just go for the parsonage, of the free house with the utilities paid and, all that, the stuff that comes with it. So I was just curious what you guys thought about that.
I'll give you my perspective. I'll let George, you hop in here too. First thing is, give me a picture of your total financial picture.
So, right now I'm a teacher, but if I take this, I will I will, be a full-time pastor.
How much debt do you owe?
I owe about $50,000.
Okay.
What kind of debt is that?
It's student loans from seminary.
Okay. And what's this pastor position going to pay you?
About $40,000.
Okay. $40,000 plus a house.
Plus a house.
Okay.
With no utilities.
Right.
So they pay all your expenses when it comes to housing.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have a picture of a house where y'all are going to crash, and your wife has a picture of a home where you don't crash.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you live.
Mm-hmm.
In a season when my wife and I owed six figures, she's a doctor too. We have a bajillion degrees in our house. Too many degrees in our house. We sold our home and we moved into a residence hall apartment at a university where I worked, and we were faculty in residence, and we did that for a year. And I took on 2 extra jobs, and she was a rock star professor, and we paid off a whole bunch of money. And we had about a year that we could do that. And so if I'm you, I would sit down and say, I dug us into a hole, $50,000 in seminary loans, and this is a way to clear that up in 18 months or so. And I would let her know, hey, our plan is to become debt-free. Let's live in this parsonage, and we're going to have no bills, we're going to have no electric, no internet, no nothing. And we are, as a family, are going to suck this up for 18 months or 24 months max. Tell your bosses at the church, we're going to do this, and then we're going to expect a housing allowance on the back end. And then y'all go buy yourselves a place. But that's what I would do. And that way you can sit down and say, hey, we can crash for a destination. And in our home, me and my wife and my son, we made those little chains that you make out of construction paper. I mean, we set it up. This is short term for us, and we can do anything for short term. And then we went and bought a house that we could become our forever house, right? And not a forever house, but a home. That's what we set up as a home. So that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, I love that mentality. What's the housing allowance if you took that?
It varies from church to church, but about like $1,500 a month.
Okay. And like John said, if you could pay off your debt, stay at the parsonage, and then could you take that housing allowance down the line if you agreed to that up front?
It would definitely cover, stuff, because I'm in West Virginia. Housing prices are really low here.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to be debt-free. You're going to have accomplished something together. You're going to have sucked it up. You're going to be able to say, look at what we did. Or you're going to realize, man, living in parsonage is kind of awesome. We call somebody else when something's broken. And now that we are debt-free, we can just start socking away this living money and continue saving and saving and saving. And at some point, buy a house with cash, right? But again, put a short-term lease on this deal. I shouldn't say lease. I'm on the Ramsey Show. Put a short-term leash, Leash, and then go from there.
And is your wife going to be working at all, Zach?
It's possible, probably part-time if so. She's an engineer, so.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm thinking if she can come in and help with this shovel to get more income coming in, and you guys could clean up this debt even faster and get her to that dream even faster.
Yeah, you clean up this debt, you'll get a down payment for a house, get an emergency fund, and get out of there, man. It's great. Good for you.
Thanks for the call, Zach. Way to go, man. Interesting scenario with the parsonage. It's a fun word to say, number one. But very interesting scenario where they're paying for you. Basically, you can live here rent-free. And you experienced something like that in some of your previous careers where they're paying for this, and so we've got to make a financial decision. What does this mean for our future housing? Because I think what the wife is seeing is, hey, we don't own this. We're not building towards anything with them paying for our rent.
Well, and you don't feel secure because somebody else owns your home, right? And we get that call from renters a lot. We get that call from, hey, if I just sold my house and moved in with my parents, me and my 5 kids and my wife moved in with my parents for a season, right? And I've done it. And for a season, it was magical. And I say magical, it was hard. But in my case, we learned that we could live a lot smaller than we thought. And every house we've bought since then has been actually small. I mean, we ended up changing our whole trajectory of our life. We got rid of a bunch of stuff. We live a lot lighter. And so we learned a lot about ourselves. And we paid off everything. And it set us up for the next several decades of my life because we made a hard decision there in the middle. It was not a 2 or 3 year decision, right? It was hard with a little one and 2 working people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's meant to catapult you through the baby steps faster, a short-term plan with an exit strategy.
Right.
That's when it can be a blessing.
And we wrote down the plan, we were very clear, and then we executed that plan, right?
Brilliant. That's the way to do it. Get rid of this debt, man. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
For most homeowners, being financially ready to sell a house comes down to one thing: equity. Now, equity is a jargony word, but all it means is that your home is worth more than what you owe the bank for it. And since home values have been on the rise for the last several years, many folks have built up, you guessed it, equity. How much of the home you own. So if you've been thinking about selling your home, the first step is to figure out if equity is on your side, because you want to make money on the sale of your home, right? If your equity looks good, it might be time to go ahead and get your home on the market. And that's when you need to find an experienced real estate agent to help. The right real estate agent does way more than just schedule showings. They know how to accurately price your home, get it in front of hungry buyers, and help you navigate negotiations. That way, you won't leave any money on the table. To connect with a top-performing agent, check out our nationwide network of endorsed local providers, or ELP agents. ELPs are the best real estate agents in your area who've earned the right to be Ramsey trusted. Our agents are committed to excellent service and to putting your financial goals first. If you want to check them out, just go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. You can find a trusted pro in your area. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. I'm George Camel, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast, joined today by Dr. John Delony. We're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Lisa joins us in Minneapolis. Lisa, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Yeah, so I'm calling because I'm recently married and also recently graduated from law school.
Congratulations.
Huge. A lot of life change.
Thank you.
Did you pass the bar?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, congrats. I know those. They just went out all over. Congratulations.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I have $60,000 in debt from law school alone, and that's
You
my
said
only
60?
debt. Yep.
How much from undergrad?
None.
None? Excellent.
Yep. My dad is a very large proponent of living debt-free, so my upbringing was very much so structured around the principles that Ramsey teaches.
Excellent.
So
Very cool.
I was fortunate in that sense. But my husband is still in grad school, and he has another year and a half. He'll graduate in December of 2022. And so my question for you guys is, should we focus on paying off my debt now that, granted the government isn't requiring us to pay off anything right now, but I know we should be, or should we be paying cash for the rest of his schooling that he has?
So the option is he goes into debt to continue grad school, or you start paying off your loans?
Right.
Stop the bleeding. Yes.
Okay, so pay his school
Keep
in
cash flowing
cash,
his
and
school.
then
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, we want to
then
minimize the damage here going forward for your debt payments. So as long can you cash flow the rest of his school?
yes,
Great. And as soon as he's out, does he have any debt so far?
like 20,000 from last trimester.
Okay. So that puts you guys at about 80 grand total in debt, and that's all student loans?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, let's cash flow the rest of his grad school. And December 2022, he graduates. January 2023, it's game on. We are going gazelle intense with hopefully amazing salaries. What do you think your combined salary will be at that point?
Probably over 200. It's hard to know if he'll be a chiropractor, so it's hard to know.
Sure, as he's
in
getting started.
Minneapolis, it's the most saturated market right now. So
if you're making 200 and you've got $80,000 in debt, that debt is gone in under a year.
Yep, y'all
Absolutely.
crush it.
Okay.
Get it. And you're going to
Sounds
take
good.
cases on the side too. He's going to see people in the garage. They're going to do whatever you got to do. Get rid of that. And then you're basically on a 2.5-year plan to be completely debt free. And then you're off to the races.
And now you're making $200,000-300 grand in a few years with no debt.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are young. How old are you two?
23 and 24.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
dude. Congratulations.
This is what I like to hear. Way to go, Lisa. We're so proud of you. Cheering you on as he finishes grad school and you guys get this debt paid off. Thanks for the call. Nick joins us in Annapolis, Maryland. Nick, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you.
How can we help?
So I, a few weeks ago, managed to screw my car up pretty bad. I got it mostly fixed up, but it sounds pretty bad, so I'm not sure how long it has left in it. And I was looking at the used car market, and with everything so inflated, it feels like it might almost be better to just buy new. So I was wondering what I should do in my situation.
Couple of questions here. So have you taken it to get it looked at, see about fixing it?
Yeah, I got it fixed up a good bit, paid a good bit to do that, and it still seems like it's probably going to be on its last legs pretty soon.
What makes you think that?
Sound, steering's pretty bad. It was already a little old and kind of a beater to begin with.
Okay. Sometimes I have been guilty of in my own life. I start finding problems with things because I want to change. And especially after I get in a wreck, I have this feeling that the car is not any good anymore, it's not safe anymore, or I'm just mad at it, or I just paid a big repair bill, so I hate it. And so that's why I'm digging in. Like, are you done with the car? Are you sick of it? Are you annoyed by it? Does it make you mad every time you get in it because you just had to spend $5,000 to fix it? Or is it really going to fall apart on you? To answer your other question, I think it comes down to cash and how long you're going to hang on to a car. I'm in the market to buy a used car right now, and I can say that out loud because my wife doesn't listen to this show, and it's for her Christmas present. And so I'm buying it early, and I'll be buying it in the next couple of days. And I got cash, and I'm planning on buying a car that we're going to drive as a family for a long, long time, hopefully for a decade or so. And so the higher price right now, it will make itself up over the next decade. I'm not worried about that. If you're going to buy a car and then sell it in 2 years, and sell it in 2 years, and sell it in 2 years, yeah, it'd be a terrible time to buy any kind of car, right? What is your... And even though you think it's going to be less buying a new car, well, I don't know. I will say this. I've heard some bananas deals. I haven't seen the numbers. That there's dealer incentives for getting rid of new cars, and there you can actually walk into a dealer and buy a new car for cheaper than you can buy a used car in some situations, especially when it comes to trucks and things. I don't know if that's true or not. That's all anecdotal. What I would tell you is don't do anything on any sort of payment. Do you have cash to go buy a car?
I'm definitely in a situation where I would definitely need to finance.
Yeah, absolutely not. Hang on to your car, man.
So what's your financial picture? How much money do you have in cash, in savings?
So in cash in my savings, I think I have about $8,000 today.
Okay.
$8,000 in 401k as well.
Do you have debt?
Only the house.
Oh, just the house. Okay.
Yeah, I bought a house a few months ago, right before graduation.
So you don't have any debt except the mortgage, and you've got pretty much you're basically in this baby step 3 maybe land around there. Is this 3 to 6 months of expenses if you add that up?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So until that car actually goes kaput, and it's not an emergency because we kind of know this thing's on its way out, if I'm you, I'm going to start to create a sinking fund very quickly where I go, all right, every month I'm going to throw a few $100 at least into a separate savings account so that when this car does go, I'm ready to use whatever money I have to buy whatever car I can get for that amount of money. So it becomes a simple math equation instead of, well, I could get this $25,000 car new, and it's actually a good deal because used they go for $26,000. That's just some backwards math there, and I don't want you financing like John talked about. So can you create a sinking fund right now? I mean, you must have a little bit of margin in your baby steps now that you don't have any debt.
Yeah, I think I have about $2,000 a month that doesn't go into like critical.
So wiggle room. You've got $2,000. Are you investing 15% into retirement before that?
Right now, I think I'm doing 5%. I just got the emergency fund back up, so I need to start doing the 15.
Yeah, let's get that investing up to 15. And do you have kids?
No, I'm 22.
Okay, so all of the leftover money after that 15%, that's going into a car savings fund, and that's going to be my A1, is to get a car that I can afford in cash. That is your next goal, Nick.
And in 10 months, you got $20,000 in an account.
Boom.
Now you can go buy yourself a used car that's not going to be fancy pants, but it's going to be safer than the one you got. Don't borrow money on a depreciating asset.
Don't be fancy pants. John said it best. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code RAMSEY to get the best deal. Rules and restrictions apply. Today's question comes from Caleb in Scotland. Did I do that right?
That was a pretty rough accent, but continue.
It wasn't great.
It's fine.
Today's question comes from Caleb William Wallace in Scotland.
Better.
He says, my friends have gotten caught up in the Bitcoin market craze and are making a lot of money trading. I know your company says it's not a secure investment, but I have to admit I'm intrigued by the money they're making. Is it a good idea to put some of my emergency fund in Bitcoin and see how fast I can grow my savings? George, you are a Bitcoin expert.
Oh my gosh, John. Okay, so we did an episode on the fine print all about Bitcoin. We called it, Is Bitcoin Your Ticket to Wealth? Could Bitcoin be your ticket to wealth? And what made me laugh at the end there was to see how fast I can grow my savings. And in my head I thought, you mean to see how fast you can lose your savings? That's the question I want you to ask. It's a risk problem, John. I know you're big on this, risk analysis. And what we found with Bitcoin is that we're not against Bitcoin. I'm not mad at you if you want to put some money in Bitcoin, but this is not your 15% retirement. We're not banking on this money to live off of.
Yep.
Now, if you want to do some fun money, if you're debt-free, you're already investing, you've got your life taken care of, you want to put some fun money into Bitcoin, that's fine. Have some fun with it, but treat it like entertainment because right now that's what it is. And so, no, it's not a good idea to put your emergency fund in Bitcoin because guess what? When there's an emergency, you're going to need that money, and it needs to be liquid. You need to be able to pull that out of the account and know it's going to be there. And with the drop of a dime or Elon Musk saying something on Saturday Night Live, your emergency fund could vanish.
Evaporates.
That frightens me. So don't do that, man. Put your emergency fund in a money market account and a high yield savings account and keep it there parked for safety. This is not where you want to play with investing.
And for those of you who want to use Bitcoin as a hedge, the dollar's all going down, so we're going to have... Please don't. Please do just a rudimentary risk assessment on how currency works. Don't do that. Don't do that. Love yourself more than that, right? That's all I'm going to say.
That's it, Caleb. Thanks for the question all the way across many ponds to Scotland.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And we can't take away your freedom either.
I wish he would have called in and I could have heard that amazing Scottish accent. All right, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Alan is in Houston, Texas, home of the John Delony. Welcome to the Ramsey Show, Alan.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call.
Alan, what is tonight? What is tonight?
You know something? I'm actually out of town right now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Alan.
I'm guessing there's a big game, John. Just by the
First
way
game
you
of the
said
World
that.
Series that the Astros are going to win, but whatever. Go ahead with your question,
There we go.
Alan.
And
Funruiner.com.
Alan, speak directly into the phone. We had you nice and clear there for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, last month my father passed away.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's still hard.
Absolutely, man. How did he pass away?
Cancer.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry, Alan.
He fought the cancer for 2 years when the doctors 2 years ago gave him 8 weeks to live.
Wow.
So he did good.
He was a warrior. That's right, man.
Yeah, Dad was always a big-time fighter. He did everything great. He really did.
It's awesome, man.
So how can we help today?
So I stand to inherit between someplace in the neighborhood of about $500,000 to $600,000.
Okay.
I have been a truck driver for 22 years now. I could actually, with that kind of money, buy my own truck and trailer. I would then stand to profit probably about an extra $50,000, maybe $75,000 a year up above what I'm making now.
Okay.
Do you think that something like that would be a good investment, or just putting $500,000 into a good mutual fund and just letting it do its job there?
Well, the latter with you starting your own business is a whole lot more work. I mean, if you put $600,000 into a good growth stock mutual fund and it grows at 10% with a rate of return, that's $60,000 a year right there, which is what you said you'd be making profit from the business. Now, if you want to start a business because that's your heart and that's where your passion lies, then I think you start this business. What's your whole financial picture look like? Do you have any debt currently?
About $28,000 on a car loan, and that's it.
Okay. And do you have a mortgage?
No, I would like to eventually buy a house.
Okay, so that was my question: is what's the whole picture, so we can really look at your goals holistically and go, all right, if a house is your goal, maybe we do that before we start the business and get into the trucking game. So you're renting right now?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm you, this is just brushing over it. I'm going to go, all right, I'm paying off this debt, A1. This $28,000 car loan is gone as soon as you get this money, followed by I'm going to pay cash for my first house and do that as a way to honor my dad and the legacy he left.
Well, that's really important to me, actually. In fact, the day I get the money, I'm taking $4,100 and pledging it to his synagogue because that's what he would want to do with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, because his wishes are most important right now. I just want to make him proud.
Yeah. Yeah. When do you expect to receive a check?
It's going through probate right now.
Okay.
So I already received about $150 from an inherited 401k.
Okay.
and the rest of it, and then another $250, I would say probably before end of the year, and then there's another 200 and change invested in a building that me and my brother now own outright.
Okay.
So it depends on when we sell that and all that stuff.
So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do nothing for 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the advice that I was given by the guy who trained me in crisis response, and it's been wisdom that I've passed on over and over. Nothing will make sense for 6 months, and you're going to think it does one day, and it's not the next day. You clearly loved your old man. He was an awesome guy. He left you a legacy. He left you with you and your brother with financial security. And you're going to be grieving this and letting this settle for a season. So I don't want you to sprint off and say, oh, I got to go do this, got to go do that. I want to spend this money before you even have the check in your hand. I want that money to get to you. If it's coming in different investments, you may want to hang on to some of those investments and not cash them out, or you may have to take graduated withdrawals from them depending on what kind of accounts they are. So clearly sit down with a SmartVestor Pro to walk through what you've got. But I want you to hang on to this for 6 months. Dream a little bit. Think about it a little bit. It may be, I want to get out of trucking altogether. Or, I love what I do. Man, it's always been my dream. Like George said, I've wanted to have my own business forever. Or actually, I just want to buy a small house and settle down for a season and become a local driver, right? And so all those things, it just gives you some space to grieve, some space to make some of those decisions. Does that sound okay?
Yes, it does.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. We'll be thinking about you and your family, praying for you, and what a cool legacy that your old man left, huh?
Yes, he did. He did. He did very well in life in business, but the most important thing too was his family. That's all that mattered, was family, family, family.
Incredible. Incredible.
Love to
Thank you
hear
so
that.
much for the call, brother.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that story. That's awesome, John. I love to hear situations like that where it's not easy, but it makes it easier when you're not left with a financial mess, and instead there's a financial blessing on the other side.
Yeah. It's such a gift to be able to say, what do we want to do, not what do we have to do.
You've got
Right?
options,
What
and
an
that's one of the
amazing
best
legacy.
legacies you can leave.
Well,
So.
financial legacies are great, and so I just imagine my kids sitting around saying, man, that guy loved me. I can't think of anything more incredible. Wow.
Love it.
Very cool.
Awesome. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day comes from 2 Chronicles 15:7. But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Christopher Columbus said, you can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Amazing we had quotes back then, John. Who was writing these down? 1450s.
Yeah, I'm calling. I don't know about that one.
He's calling the bluff on
I don't know
Columbus
about that
there.
one.
Alrighty. Well, hey, I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print podcast and Entree Leadership podcast, joined today by the amazing Dr. John Delony, host of the Dr. John Delony Show. You can find all of those shows on the Ramsey Network, wherever you find podcasts, all the stuff. John's show is on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, YouTube, podcast. It's everywhere.
That's
I
right.
can't get away from it, John. I pull up my YouTube and it's all John Delony clips. You've taken over.
Yeah, see, I have this. It's cool. My job is every day. I don't get to just do a series like you do.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts, John. The
Well,
amount of work we put into our beautiful narrative
here we
storytelling
go.
podcast.
Let's do
crafting
10 episodes and call it good for the year.
We're whittling away with a little pick to make a
Unbelievable.
perfectly crafted 30-minute podcast.
You found a glitch in the matrix, so congratulations. I have to show up every day to record my show, so it's cool, man.
Hurtful.
It's good.
Well, It's been a fun ride, guys. Me and John clearly 2 hours and 40 minutes is our limit together before John gets
James
snippy.
is about to pop in. I actually don't show up every day either, so it's okay.
Well, the way to avoid all of this is to go to the phone lines, John. That's where we do our best work. And Nina is on the line in Pensacola, Florida. Nina, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
I have a question about trying to minimize the accumulation of interest on my loans.
Okay.
On
student loans?
Yes, sir. I have federal student loans. I also have a private loan, and I have credit card debt as well.
Okay. So you want to minimize interest. What was the thinking behind minimizing interest? Just you don't want to pay more than you have to pay.
Yeah. Ideally, I would love to be able to start paying it off, but realistically, I'm in an intensive nursing program right now, and I don't graduate until after the summer of next year. So I wouldn't be able to start working to start paying it off. So I actually tried to transfer my credit card debt to get a 0 APR for at least a year, try to get that interest down. I don't know about loan consolidation, if that would help, but try to get the interest down.
Are you continuing to take on debt as you finish this program?
I am. I'm finding ways to pay for it as the semesters come. I'm not taking any more federal loan debt. I'm not taking out any private loans at the moment.
So what are you taking out to pay for this?
The money that's been coming in from COVID, like the school's been sending me money for COVID, like relief funds, and then everything that supplement my parents have been helping me to cover it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the interest has been paused with the student relief extension being in place until January 31st. So February 1st, payments are back on, interest back on, and so the best thing you can do is pay off your loans while you can right now, but it sounds like you don't have the cash flow to do that as you continue to finish this program.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to minimize interest on your loans, other than refinancing, getting a lower interest, is to actually pay off the debt as quickly as possible. And so that's why we recommend what's called the debt snowball. And it sounds counterintuitive because what we say is, hey, ignore the interest rate. You're just going to list the debts from smallest to largest, the balances. You're going to pay minimum payments on all of those debts except for the smallest debt. And on that debt, you're going to attack it with a vengeance with everything you've got, with side job money, any income. You're going to shave your expenses down to bare bones and attack that debt. Because once you do that, you free up a payment you are making on that debt, and you use that on the next debt and the next debt and the next debt. So that is truthfully the best way to minimize interest, is to get rid of the debt as fast as possible.
All right.
But since you're still in school, and I do know special medical intensives, whether it's nursing or nurse practitioners or you're in your clinical rotations in med school, whatever, I understand those take up your entire life. You're working 10 to 12-hour, 14-hour shifts, and then you're doing classwork at night, and then you're starting up and doing that over again. Your goal right now is to get through school with no more debt. Stop the bleeding, okay? Put a plug in that drain so the water doesn't keep coming out. If trying to fill up the drain doesn't matter, trying to fill up the sink doesn't matter if it's just all draining right back out the bottom. So stop the drain, stop the bleeding. I'm going to use as many metaphors. I'm just going to use 30 of them in this one call.
A lot of medical analogies happening.
Of them. Too many. But stop that, and then when you get done with school, you're going to have to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do what George just said. Put those debts in order, smallest to largest, and you're going to start knocking them off. And you're not going to buy a new car. You're not going to go buy a new house with your big nursing salary. You're going to just spend that first year, that first 2 years getting out of debt. And you're going to set yourself up for a lifetime of peace. Okay? Good for you.
Thanks for the call, Nina. We are going to Selena in Salt Lake City. Selena, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
Okay, I just sold my house earlier today.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm currently, I moved out of state, recently moved to Utah, and so I'm currently paying a higher rent than my mortgage was. But I sold my house earlier today, and with the money, I intend to pay off all of my student loan debt, which is about $39,000.
Love it.
I'm going to take $5,000, add it to my emergency fund, which will bring that up to $15,000, and then I'll have $40,000 left over. And so my question is, what do I do with that? Because I don't have any car payments, credit card debt. I won't have a mortgage, and I don't want to just put it in a bank and have it sit there.
That's awesome. So selling this house has catapulted you from baby step 1 to 4 pretty quickly.
Yes.
Where are you going to live?
Currently, I'm in Orem, Utah. I moved here for work from Nebraska.
But are you just renting an apartment?
Yes, renting a townhome. The market here is actually worse. For maybe a not very nice condo or townhome, they run about like $400,000.
Whew, wow.
For outdated condos that need all new flooring and on a busy street and a corner spot. So that's.
And it sounds like your next goal. So you'll be investing 15% with this new job, I assume, into retirement.
I'm currently at 8%, and that's another thing because of my age. I don't know if I should do the traditional or the Roth. I struggle with that. But currently, I'm investing 8% into my.
How old are you?
At work. I'm 42.
Okay. I mean, you can definitely connect with a SmartVestor Pro in that area to go, hey, what is my best bet based on when I want to retire, what my goals are. But on the money side, once you've got, I would bump that up to 15% regardless of if it's in traditional Roth. Don't let that paralyze you in your decision-making process. But once you've got that, it sounds like your next goal is to plant roots there and maybe get a house.
Not necessarily. My daughter has 2 years of high school left, and so I just there's a lot of uncertainties right now.
So you might be moving again in a few years.
I might be, and so I'm thinking whether it's buy a house and either here or somewhere else. I'd like to possibly have that money work for me somehow, but I just don't know where or how. Do I open up my own Vanguard account and do a standard S&P? Do I dump it in my retirement, which I wouldn't be able to use later?
I think beyond the 15%, it comes down to, hey, do I want to save up for a down payment in the future, whether it's in Salt Lake City area or elsewhere. And you can park that money in a high-yield savings account and get a 0.5%. If it's going to be long-term, if you're talking 3, 4, 5+ years, you could put it in some index funds in Vanguard. You could put it in some mutual funds to let it grow at a higher rate. But if it's going to be short-term, I wouldn't go investing into the market yet, especially if you don't know what the next few years looks like.
Okay, so short term would be if I'm not going to less than 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
Yes.
1 to 2 years, yeah.
If we're talking 1 to 2 years, that's too short for me to be jumping into the market. But if it's
Absolutely
longer than that, if you're talking 3 to 5, you can park that in some index funds or mutual funds and let that grow. Thanks so much for the call. It's been a fun hour, John. Our thanks to James Childs, producer, Austin Selby on the phone screening, Kelly Daniel, associate producer, and you, America, thanks so much for listening. Until next time, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.